distances to get water that's not even very clean in the first place. So it was what was cool too is that once they got done with getting all this money and proceeds, a lot of times they went and they showed a live video feed as they showed as they drilled wells in these different villages, and you could see, okay, this is some of your money that you donated. Good event itself. One thing that's really cool about it too, it's run 100% by volunteers, and it's independently from any non-profit. It's basically people that really have a passion for the charity or for just getting together or getting out there and basically making this stuff happen. And a lot of sponsors you get from corporate sponsors and other sponsors that donate their time and resources. You know, it's usually held on a one night worldwide. So that's kind of a little background about it. How did we get in? How did Kansas City get involved? Well, there was back in February 2009, someone mentioned on there about Twestivals. Said, okay, have you heard about this? You know, anybody know anything about this? That cities can register themselves? And so there was kind of an interest, okay, should we do one in Kansas City? So about a group of 3 or 4 of us, at the very beginning, got together, said, okay, well, a lot of us, I was kind of in that group, and we were trying to figure out, okay, we're trying to do this for Kansas City. You know, this is like, could be crazy or it could be successful, who knows? And so we were like, well, let's see if we can make it happen. So in that time, we had 3 weeks until the actual event was to be held to make this all happen. So there was a lot of like, okay, is this even possible? So we basically went out and said, okay, we're going to do this. We reached out to people on Twitter, we reached out to people on Facebook and other blogs and that type of stuff, and basically said, okay, this is what we want to do. Who's in on this, and how can people help us? And it was pretty amazing because we had a lot of people out there on Twitter that would say, okay, I know of a venue and I know the owner of this venue we can contact, or I know some food sources or beverages, that type of stuff. And so there was a lot of that type of community, I guess you could say, in a way, to come together and make this happen. So we use Twitter and Facebook and all those to encourage donations and to raise awareness of the event. And so it was held 3 weeks later, and on February 12th, we raised about $3,700 total for that charity. And what was kind of amazing too in itself was, of all the cities, ours was in the top 15 for money raised. And it's just like, it was really amazing to see how you get such a small group that really was passionate about making this happen and doing it in a 3 weeks time frame, and then to actually see the efforts, you know, with the funds raised and all that was a pretty cool deal. So that was the first one that was done. And then around the September time frame, there was a lot of around the February time frame, there was a lot of talk about, okay, how can we do this in a local type of charity? You know, everybody liked the global charity, but how can we do this impacting somebody in the global or in the local community? So basically, we got together and said, okay, let's do another Twestival. And it was on a local charity. This time we had a lot larger group, about 15 that volunteered time. We also used something at the time called Google Groups, basically to just talk about, share information, that type of stuff. And Google Wave, I don't know if anybody's heard of Google Wave. It's a new collaboration tool that's coming out. That probably would have been helpful for us at the time to use that if it had been out. But we did get together and just talk about, okay, how can we do this again? You know, make it successful. And you know, we also, what we did too in this case is we had a list of charities that were selected from the main group, and then we just narrowed it down to the top 6. And we were like, okay, we want to have the Kansas City community vote on which one we actually select. And so we had a voting running for about a couple of weeks, and the top charity that was chosen was Wayside Waves. And they were pretty excited about it. They were very active on Twitter and Facebook, and they're always tweeting about the animals that they have up for adoption and the different stuff going on. They do a lot of charity events itself, so they were very excited about being a part of this. So once again, we used all these social media tools to communicate information about it. And then it was held on September 11th. And what was really cool about this whole one too was everything was donated, the venue, the food, the beverages, everything. So we had no expenses whatsoever that we had to worry about, which was it's pretty phenomenal when you think about it. You know, there was a lot of people that were really wanted to make it happen. And what was kind of cool that also we had live bands there, so they also donated their time to come there and actually be a part of that. And we had a lot of walk-up traffic actually coming there. A lot of people going by. It was held at the Brooksider Bar and Grill, which actually had quite a bit of room there. It worked out pretty well. And had door prizes also, and that was all completely donated.
So they were local Kansas City bands?
Yes, local Kansas. Yeah, we had a couple, one from Kansas City and a couple from Lawrence. So we just basically said we're doing this event, would you like to come and play? And so
How did you find them? Through Twitter and all that?
yeah, a lot of people, friends, people that we know, knew about other people, and so we just kind of sent out the note and they came back to us. So that's kind of how we did.
So did all the money, I see the last note says, without any corporate sponsors, so this is all individuals donating
Yeah,
money?
yeah.
Or finding their company or small business that would be able to like supply a location?
Yeah, yep.
Et cetera?
Yeah, that was the big thing with that was a lot of, like Lawrence had a Twestival itself, and it was very, very successful also, and they had a lot of corporate sponsors. So when it was getting close to the time, we were like, okay, can we do this? Because I know this time, you know, especially the economy now, is that even people wouldn't really do much of that type of sponsorship. So we didn't know how it would work out. So it was very pleasantly surprised that, you know, the amount of money we did raise, even without that type of, people just really wanted to help out and make it happen. So that was money raised for Wayside Waste. They were going to use it to help out with their adoptions and that type of stuff. It was also used, it was kind of interesting, at the same time when we had this Twestival, it was also the same weekend of Wayside Waste had something called Adopt-a-thon. And they kind of used this to kind of run right into that actual event. So a lot of people got to know more about them and adopt an animal if they wish to do that. So need a little information. So that kind of concludes, I guess, real quick on actual information about Twitter and Twestival. Just a little bit of contact information. Of course, I'm on Twitter, so if anybody has any interest in wanting to follow me or whatever, I can, you know, I'm very open to, if you want to learn more about it and sign up for yourself. If you have any questions, you know, just send me a note and I can definitely help you out with that type of stuff. I also got some information on there, LinkedIn and blog and that type of stuff. So that's pretty much what I have. So, yep.
Since the presentation is over and it's okay to experiment now, do we want to try and go out live on the internet and maybe you can go through some of the stuff and try and capture it on the video?
Yeah, sure.
Cross your fingers.
He's got it.
Yeah.
Something magical about the 140?
You know,
It's very frustrating that it's only 140.
Actually, it makes you become much more of a succinct person. Your sentences aren't so long.
yeah, it's interesting how they came up with 140. It's
Well, I mean, why 140 and not 145, 130?
Or 180, or no, 160. Two
Yeah.
lines of 180. I don't know. Two lines of 80,
Here's what you
160.
could do. You could sign up on Twitter and send a message directly to the Twitter co-founders.
Yeah. Why 140?
Because that's a good question. It is a good question, definitely. I'm not sure on that.
One more question.
I want to know how available, I don't know how to put it. When you put something out there, can just anybody go read it? Because,
Depends on how you say it.
you know, do you have any kind of privacy?
You can set your account to be private.
Okay.
So only certain people that request to follow you. You can kind of like Facebook in a way where somebody sends a friend request, that type of stuff. You can set it private if you want.
Because
So
this
there is
thing
that
with
option.
Larry Johnson, wasn't that on Twitter?